Hi guys, welcome to another audio video, and I'll be reading Judges 19 of the King James Version Bible. And it reads, "And it came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of Mount Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah. And his concubine played the whore against him, and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem, Judah, and was there 4 whole months. And her husband arose, and went after her to speak friendly unto her, and to bring her again, having his servants with him, and a couple of asses. And she brought him into her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him, and he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink, and lodged there. And it came to pass on the 4th day, when they arose early in the morning, that he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto his son-in-law, Comfort thine heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward go your way. And they sat down and did eat and drink, both of them together. For the damsel's father had said unto the man, Be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thine heart be merry. And when the man rose up to depart, his father-in-law urged him, therefore he lodged there again. And he rose early in the morning on the 5th day to depart, and the damsel's father said, Comfort thine heart, I pray thee. And they tarried until afternoon, and they did eat both of them. And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the damsel's father, said unto him, Behold, now the day draweth toward evening. I pray you tarry all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thine heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early on your way, that thou mayst go home. But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed, and came over against Jebus, which is Jerusalem. And there were with him 2 asses saddled, his concubine also was with him. And when they were by Jebus, the day was far spent, and the servant said unto his master, Come, I pray thee, and let us turn into this city of the Jebusites, and lodge in it. And his master said unto him, We will not turn aside either into the city of a stranger that is not of the children of Israel. We will pass over to Gibeah. And he said unto his servant, Come, and let us draw near to one of these places to lodge all night in Gibeah, or in Ramah. And they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them when they were by Gibeah, which belongeth to Benjamin. And they turned aside thither to go in and to lodge in Gibeah. And when he went in, he sat him down in a street of the city, for there was no man that took him into his house to lodge in. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at even, which was also of Mount Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah. But the men of the place were Benjamites. And when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw a wayfaring man in the street of the city. And the old man said, Whither goest thou, and whence comest thou? And he said unto him, We are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, toward the side of Mount Ephraim. From thence am I. And I went to Bethlehem, Judah, but I am now going to the house of the Lord, and there is no man that receiveth me to house. Yet there is both straw and provender for our asses, and there is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man which is with thy servants. There is no want for of anything. And the old man said, Peace be with thee. Howsoever, let all thy wants lie upon me, only lodge not in the street. So he brought him into his house, and gave provender unto the asses, and they washed their feet, and did eat and drink. Now As they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him. And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them, and said unto them, Nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly. Seeing that this man is come into mine house, do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. Them I will bring out, and humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine, and brought her forth unto them. And they knew her, and abused her all the night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her lord was, till it was light. And their lord rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman his concubine was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he said unto her, Up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then the man took her up unto an ass, and the man rose up and gat him unto his place. And when he came into his house, he took a knife and laid hold on his concubine, and divided her together with her bones into 12 pieces, and sent her into all the coast of Israel. And it was so, that all that saw it said, There was no such deed done nor seen from the day of the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider it, take advice, and speak your minds. Okay, guys, we see in this chapter where it is that this young man went to regain his wife, because his wife had left him, his concubine, not his wife, his concubine, right? And he went and he sojourned there, and it seemed as if his father-in-law was trying to get him to stay in his house, because each day he would say to him, Eat and be merry, okay? And he would actually deter him from traveling each passing day. And we see where he seemed to have gotten weary of remaining in his father-in-law's house, and so he decided that even though it was noon already, it was basically some of the day has already passed, he decided that okay, he would not wait, but he would continue on his way. He would not tarry, he would not wait in his father-in-law's house. He had to make his way home. And he came near cities, but he would not go there. He said that he had to go to one of his Israelite companions' city, right? And he went to that of the Benjamites, near Gibeah. And we see where they did not receive him well. They did not receive him. They left him out in the street, he and his servant and his concubine. However, one man, a man of good heart, an elderly man, that's what I get from what I read. Sorry if that's not what you got. But an elderly man coming from the field saw them, and he gave them shelter. However, as it so occurred with Lot, when the angels went to Sodom and Gomorrah, they came and they knocked at the door of the man who was hosting these Israelites from Mount Ephraim. And we see where they wanted to lie with the man, and the host decided that they should not do such a vile thing unto the man, and so he offered up his daughter and also the concubine of the man that was with him. right? The man he was hosting. And we see where they were not very accepting of the maiden, the man's daughter, nor of the concubine. However, they eventually took the concubine and they had their way with her, obviously, all night. And they basically killed her because she fell at the threshold, the doorpost of the house. She returned there, and when it is that her husband tried to speak to her, he found that she was dead. She was actually dead. Okay, but he didn't leave her there. He brought her back home with him, okay, to Mount Ephraim, and he divided up her body into 12 pieces. These 12 pieces sent to the 12 tribes of Israel. And I think he sent that to show them the cruelty that was within them. And they were saying they've not seen such a thing since leaving Egypt, which was over 300 years ago. Okay, and so he sent it to them and he said to them, consider of it, take advice and speak your mind. Let us think on this and speak freely, speak your minds. I want to know your thoughts on this, because this is what happened, this is what took place. I entered into the camp of one of my fellow brethren, a fellow Israelite, and what I received there was not, I did not receive a welcome there when I went there, and I cannot believe this is of my brethren. So I want you all to see what has happened. Look at what has taken place to my concubine. So he divided up the body and sent to them, to the 12 tribes, so they could see what actually occurred, and for them to basically to show them their guilt in it, because they're not operating as one body, and that's what they ought to operate as, one body, not each man going his own way and not being friendly unto his brother, because that was the whole concept of the Israelites, the children of Israel. They were one family, divided only so that control could be maintained. And that was the reason why they were divided amongst princes, the different tribes, and also you'd have captains and rulers. Okay, because there was they were many and they needed to be controlled. So that was the reason why there were appointed leaders to control the masses, because you can't have one person controlling everybody. That was very unlikely to happen, to be very impactful. So therefore they had to have leaders and there had to be divisions. But that was not to say that there should be divisions among the people. Okay, they were all one body, just the same. They were supposed to be operating as one body, just the same. And that just goes to show that, division will always take place. Division will always take place. It might not be God's intent, but it will always take place, because that's the nature of men. The nature of man is evil, and they'll always look to do evil, and they cannot live together peaceably. That's something that I've seen happen time and time again. Brothers and sisters fight against each other, sisters and sisters, brothers and brothers. I mean, I've been hearing about so many killings, and it's all between family members. And that's just tragic, but it is the fact. It's the reality of the life, that the world that we're living in at this point in time. And so I want to remind you of something that the Lord had said. Okay? The Lord had said that in Matthew, that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord thy God above all else. Okay? But the second greatest commandment above anything else is love thy neighbor as thyself. And everyone you come across within your life, you have any dealing with, is your neighbor. Your enemy is your neighbor, and you should deal fairly with them also, as you would with a brother that you love dearly. Okay? You should love them as you love yourself. Do unto them as you do unto yourself. That's what God intends for everyone. And I mean, these were the Israelites which this commandment was passed on to. I mean, it has been 300 years, but they were closer to this than us. Okay? They were privy to this firsthand than us because we're thousands of years down the line from them. Okay? They received all these laws and statutes. They had the privilege of going to visit to see what was actually written if they wanted to look back for themselves, if they doubted what was written. I do not have that pleasure right now. You probably don't have that pleasure right now to go and look back at any of the laws and statutes. We don't even read that language. But they do. They did. So they could do that. But that just goes to show, okay? Men will always want to do what they want to do, and they won't care to revisit anything that goes against what they desire themselves. All right? And I just want to remind you, I just want to urge you to operate under a spirit of love. I've said it so many times, I'm sounding like a sounding timbas right now, right? And it's not to say that I'm sounding like I'm repeating myself over and over again, but it's just something that is very important. Though so simple, it's very important and it's very crucial for us in moving forward and in growing spiritually. And I just want to encourage you to incorporate a spirit of love in everything that you do, in every aspect of your life. Okay? That's my words to you. Alright? Have yourselves a blessed day. And guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification so you're alerted to whenever a new audio video is posted. And also, guys, please don't forget to leave your thoughts, your revelations, and your comments down below in the comment section. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up at my IG angle down below. Okay? Alright, guys, remember, keep your salvation. And if you've not yet gained it, seek it. There's no better time to begin than the present. Have yourselves a blessed day. Bye.